Vortex Energy Part 29, 2012 Olympics, crop circles, the Olympians, you, and the consciousness of all humanity. As many of you are aware, the Olympics are coming up soon, and there's been lots of rumours on the internet based on conspiracy theories about events that may or may not happen. The BBC One have even made a documentary on this, and they talk about alien invasions and all sorts. And there's a good reason why that is going to be on the television, and it has everything to do with the levels of your consciousness. The first crop circle to appear in England this year was the Flower of Life, and it appeared at East Kennet Longborough. This appeared for many reasons. One of the reasons is that we can use this crop circle to place over the Ferris wheels and the London Eye in the United Kingdom. These wheels are all connected to the Olympic Stadium of Obelisks, ley lines, and I've explained all this before in many of my videos, and I will make references at the end so that people who have no idea what I'm talking about can have a bit of a catch-up. I'm just going to put a clip in now from a couple of previous videos that we made about 6 years ago, just as a reminder, so that people can remember or learn how part of this grid ley line system works.
Stonehenge is the control panel for the Great Pyramid. After the destruction of Atlantis, it was necessary to build a womb and a sword, the womb being Avebury and the sword being the Great Pyramid of Giza. In between those two you have the control panel, which is Stonehenge. That is why near Stonehenge you will now see another crop circle, which will bring balance to this whole grid of Mother Earth. This is why so many crop circles appear around this control panel. But the point we're making here, and we'll repeat this many times, is you have the womb in Avebury, the control panel in Stonehenge, and way down in Egypt you have the actual sword, which creates an antenna system that was designed to put balance into the grid. Just a note here before we go on. Why do we know this? History will tell us that the end of the millennium, on December 31st, 1999, the people in charge decided to put a capstone on the Great Pyramid. They knew that this was the antenna system that could control the whole grid. Then Tony Blair and his friends in Britain built a hideous dome in London's harbour called the Millennium Dome. This is nothing but an antenna representing Stonehenge. That is why, after looking at the grid and understanding how to control the grid on the planet, this is why the Millennium Dome was built and the attempt to put the capstone on the Great Pyramid. What is important here is it did not happen. But what would have been sad if it would have happened, because it would have put a surge of energy through the earth and given us Y2K in a big time. Here are the two different types of stones that were used in Stonehenge. The bigger stone was quarried at Avebury and brought down here some 30 miles. Blue stones were quarried in Wales. It doesn't matter how and what time they were quarried. What matters here is they needed a difference in the electricity in the stones. Remember, Stonehenge is the control panel, and they needed the electrical difference in the electrical frequency. On the top, they would put something like the Ark of the Covenant, and this way they could send a signal down to the Great Pyramid, and as they rolled a vortex generator like a Tesla coil up the Grand Gallery, they could actually tip and tilt the Earth.
Here is the location of the first crop circle, which appeared in East Kennet. East Kennet and West Kennet Longborough were explained in films we made in 2006. I will post the links in the video description below. Here is West Kennet Longborough, and here's part of the original video that we explained this in 2006.
I am standing on top of West Kennet Mound overlooking Silbury Hill. It is positioned so that the energy off of Silbury Hill could be shot down through this mound. Many people say it is a burial mound. In the beginning it was never a burial mound. Later on it may have become a burial mound, but it was a tube to create a solitron. A solitron is a vortex sideways. The top of Silbury Hill creates what we call a standing columnar wave. Many people also call standing columnar waves scalar waves. And as you create it to a correct resonance, you can shoot that resonance down to a sideways scalar wave, which many people call a solitron. Then this energy was shot over to the sanctuary. The sanctuary was a series of revolving electrical devices. And this is how, when they quarried the blocks, they could resonate the block from the quarry, which was just very close to Silbury Hill, and with 4 men with a rod of patah carry that down. They built the Avebury first in the shape of a womb. Then they built Stonehenge.
Okay, now if we go to London, we can look here on the map at the London Eye. This wheel is the same type of design that has been placed in many locations around the country. One of the key places is Brighton. This is the one in London, and here is the Flower of Life, which can be placed over the wheels. These wheels are directing scalar waves, solitrons, ley lines, whatever you'd like to call it, and this energy is being directed towards the Olympic Stadium. If you look behind this wheel at the tower just to the left, if you look on the top, you'll see a point on it. This is an obelisk. This is explained in Vortex Energy Part 4, I think it's Part 4, Medicine Wheels and Obelisks, which we'll play clips of at the end. Here is the Millennium Dome, which you were told about in the clip earlier. And if you look over here to the left, you will see the Canary Wharf Tower Obelisk, which relates to the Giza Pyramid. The angle on the top is 51 degrees, and these relate to the angles of creation. So here is the cup and the sword. The scalar wave arcs up and over from the Canary Wharf Tower and into the Millennium Dome, where it's then connected by ley lines. We'll explain more of this later on in the video. If we come back to Avebury, a crop circle appeared on the 1st of July, and it's a triangle with 10 circles of the Flower of Life inside. One corner points to Silbury Hill, the other one points to Merlin's Mount, and the other one points here to Avebury Stone Circle, the largest stone circle in the world, and is the cup to the sword, which is the Giza Pyramid. This is the male and female balanced energy points with Stonehenge as the control panel. This is Silbury Hill, where the crop circle appeared next to. Silbury Hill is also connected by ley lines. It's a step pyramid, a chalk step pyramid covered in earth and grass, which make layers of electric dielectric. This makes a capacitor. This is the same as the skin on your body and the Giza Pyramid. The ley line from Silbury Hill runs straight through Windsor Castle. This is a control point for the people that built the Olympic Stadium. This ley line then runs through London to Buckingham Palace. Here is the Olympic Stadium. Around the Olympic Stadium have been placed sets of lights with 16 triangles in. 15 triangles and a capstone on the top. These triangles are used to direct the scalar waves from the eyes or the wheels into the Olympic Stadium. This is the crop circle that represents the triangles. These are the gold medals for the 2012 Olympics. If you look on the right, you can see a triangle, a square, and lots of lines. These lines represent ley lines. The triangle fits from the Olympic Stadium to the Royal Artillery Barracks to Peckham, and the dome, the mind control device, sits directly in the centre. As you can see here, the square also fits, and here are the ley lines. Where these connect is irrelevant, and I don't have time to explain it all in this video, or we'd be here for a week talking about this. So this is the crop circle that needs to be placed, and again the Olympic medals. The Flower of Life crop circle can also be placed over the medals along with the triangular circle. Again, we'll come back to this at the end and explain how you can use these symbols. Here is the Olympic Stadium. A crop circle appeared 2 days ago, and I believe it is directly related to being placed over the stadium. Again, we'll explain this at the end. Stonehenge and crop circles. A lot of people say to me, why do crop circles appear around Stonehenge and in Italy? The Giza Pyramid angle is at 51 degrees. Stonehenge is on the line, which is also 51 degrees. The ley line that runs from the Isle of Man to Stonehenge through Paris, and it also runs through the Vatican. This is why many crop circles appear in Italy, because these control points are used to manipulate humanity's consciousness, and some of the main PowerPoint is in Italy at the Vatican. So you will see a lot of crop circles appearing near these ley lines, and they will affect the control panel at Stonehenge, which will try and rebalance human consciousness. I am going to now play you a video. It's about 10 minutes long. It was made a few years ago. It's part of the Vortex Energy series, but it will help you understand how obelisks work with ley lines and how they affect you and us, and how all the obelisks and buildings in London, New York, Japan, all these places around the world and cities are used as tools to move the subatomic particles around, which then affect you and affect your levels of consciousness. After this video, I will then explain what we can do to change levels of human consciousness during the Olympics, for the betterment of all mankind. Vortex Energy Part 4, Medicine Wheels and Obelisks. Here we will just touch the surface on these two subjects, but there will be more to explain in the future. It is the sensitivity of all creation to all creation which is the only path of true progress. The sensitive dowser, wishing to locate the position and design of a device with the intention of bringing peace and harmony to an area, cannot escape the singular responsibility of being right. There is no room for apologies. The simple rule of do it right, do it once, and it stands forever, always applies. Through all the ages, the sensitive has been a major contribution to bringing tranquility and peace, but never by the use of suggested authority or assumed superiority. What often is found upon research is that the concerned sensitive is a very aware or humble person, yet one who displays confidence in most facets of his life. The dowser, the shaman, are all common names used over the years as titles for the sensitive who sees the assumedly hidden answers for short and long-term problems. There has to be a crossover from the factual philosophy to the actual physical. The relationship of small electromagnetic fields to actual events has been well illustrated and must always be kept in sharp focus. All things are the manifestation of thoughts. How much, whether good or bad, is not the question, for such a series of questions could be debated forever and seemingly never be resolved. The dowser seeks to find ley lines, which to the earth as a sphere are the neurological system to the human being. The sensitive looks for the location of interrelated lines of stress or disease. In the case of the human, a light touch, a small rub, perhaps even a deep local massage will bring about the relief of pain. When we relate to the world, dance by a small group or a big tribe can be used to locally adjust conditions. From this we can now grasp the significance of the North American rain dance and its local effects. Most Indian dances were used to directly influence physical, local and distant conditions. Much like Saqqara in Egypt and the Temple of Beauty, where dancers were taught to use their mind and body so as to heighten the participants' and audience's spiritual awareness. Bearing in mind that thoughts are things, the creation of tranquil beauty brought about a gentle social awareness. Music soothes the savage heart, so we are reminded by the old saying, but it can also arouse anger and a level of self-indulgence where the hedonistic attitude predominates. While we have considered dance as an influence on a local scale, dance performed at a conjunction of ley lines which are strong reaches out and magnifies the intent of the dancers. Where there is a conjunction of ley lines which are hurting or sore, then a dance of pounding feet is the very last thing the location needs. This would be the same condition that a person with a toothache would respond to a punch in the jaw. The concerned dowser sees and knows how to relate to the earth's needs simply by observation, or if you will, talking to it. Each ley line has its own individual nature, which is expressed in its direction of pulse flow, the frequency of its pulse, the line of relaxation between pulse, the width of this pulse, the length of the line, and finally the heading of the line at the intersecting site. Not all lines are consistently straight or consistently deep. In fact, consistency between any two lines is seldom the case. The dowser of old and modern times sees only what the earth has to show in the way of ley lines, subterranean watercourses, mineral deposits and other conditions. The dowser of the earth has a direct counterpart in the diagnostic doctor of modern medicine, with all of his sophisticated instrumentation. The sensitive was the first person who responded to the soft, gentle signals originating from all creation. The evolution of humanity has wandered away from its own feelings and substituted instruments for personal feelings. The reason for this swing is that we humans as a species tend to be inclined to induce deception rather than trust. The desire of all creation to be in a state of happiness or inertia, that is to say, to keep doing what one is doing, is a common event. Thus, the old dowsers located sites where aggression would not be encountered. On such sites, the location would be marked by a simple structure, such as a rock or rocks being placed together, or the placing of a pole. As human intelligence evolved, more elaborate site marking was used. Most modern society members consider architectural form to be totally insignificant, yet contemporary churches will incorporate steeples, towers, domes and raised dais. Church sites are selected more often due to land cost, but oddly dowsing surveying often shows healthy congregations are located on healthy leyline sites. In the beginning, simple poles were stuck in the ground to mark sacred places. Baton Rouge received its name because the Indians marked it with a red pole. Sometimes these poles became obelisks. There are two types of obelisks, one designed for a downshoot and the other for an upshoot. Downshoot obelisks are placed over spots where the energy is going into the ground. A typical heavyweight cast stone obelisk would usually weigh above 800 pounds and sometimes run into the thousands of tons, and are always built on vortex downshoots. The device is constructed to ensure that the required weight is concentrated on this site, often concealed as a memorial device. A lightweight obelisk is generally made from wood and would weigh less than 800 pounds and is always built on a vortex upshoot. This structure is hollow and may incorporate voice ports, which are covered with filter glass, i.e. blue, yellow, green and red. Careful review of old Indian wills and mound sites indicates that there is a consistency between sites scattered over not only a continental area but across the world. This view totally dismisses such building of mounds, barrows or pyramids as a singular local event. A case in point being that the majority of earth mounds are located on raised headlands with a view over water or a valley river system. The predominant orientation is with a view towards the east or southeast, and wherever possible the incorporation of a southerly aspect stretching from sunrise to sunset. Today, such an exposure would be sought by people who have an aesthetic love of nature. Beauty is a need of such a person. Where all of the senses are in harmonic balance in such an environment, human tranquility can return to the beholder. Some mounds are quite small. Others contain large volumes of earth and rock. Silbury Hill and Avebury Temple are two fine examples, which are located in southwest England. It is in this area that the world-famous wood and stone circles are also located. Avebury with Woodhenge and of course Stonehenge, both sadly decimated in much the same manner as hundreds of sites all over the world. Thousands of visitors who lack just basic respect for the environment, coupled by misguided groups who claim spiritual awareness related to a particular site. Often such a claim is founded simply to satisfy the personal egos of the group's participants. Each and every site should be respected, if for no other reason than the desire to create a spot where selfish interest is not acceptable. A simple marker such as the stone wheel proclaims to all that see it that the site has an unusual nature. For all who understand the significance of such a device, all selfish thoughts, words and deeds are cast aside. The correctly placed wheel, properly designed, will radiate the subtle earth energy for the betterment of all creation. Medicine, or in modern terms, energy wheels, do not produce power to light lamps or new electrical motors, nor should the owner expect to vastly improve crops within a planting to harvest season. Medicine wheels do not produce the typical overnight cure for all ills. The progress is consistent and seemingly slow, but at all times it is progress. Progress in every way towards being at peace with the total environment. Okay, here is a clip from one of Mary's films which just explains a small bit about the particles which make up the vortex energy, the ley lines, your aura, the meridian lines, your thought waves, the glue of the universe, the God particle, whatever you want to call it.
A lot of people have not heard the word tachyon, but most of Tesla's inventions were created by tachyon energy. Tachyon energy operates in that fashion. I can. Let me think. Yes, I can. And when you walk a labyrinth, that stimulates that frequency within your brain to activate that consciousness. And what I was taught to say from the order of Melchizedek is, who am I, what am I? As I am not, but as we are, I am. So, as we are, as a dowsing community, we are. And we can be anything we want. Jesus said, these and greater things you can do also. Just know that you can. Okay? And then what the order of Melchizedek says to you, my creation, my perfect love is your perfect freedom. You are free, and you cannot infringe on anybody else's freedom. So if you want to do the Holy Grail Vortex and you were told no, then for some reason you're infringing on somebody else's freedom, and you cannot do that. And to you, my creation, my perfect love is your perfect freedom. And I will be with you forever and ever until the end, and then forevermore. So if you opt to be part of the answer, they will work with you forever. And then after you graduate, they will be with you forever. That is the statement that was given to me from the elders of the planet. Okay. Now you imagine that all these pyramids are scattered all over the planet. You've got obelisks all over the planet. Just ask that these be tuned to a frequency which will help Mother Earth balance. And by saying the great invocation and putting the intent of love into it, that's all you have to do.
What can you do during the Olympic Games? I was sent a meditation this week, and for those of you that know the Holy Grail Vortex, you can use this and add the Holy Grail Vortex to it. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Holy Grail Vortex, it's a way of setting up an interdimensional vortex which carries a frequency of intent. From my point of view and the point of view for the good of all man, I like to use love, hope, peace, harmony, all the good things in life, to try and rebalance all the bad things which are being done by those in charge who actually like to call themselves the Olympians, hence Olympians in the title and the reference to Windsor Castle. The invocation and meditation can be used while visualizing the Flower of Life crop circle being placed over all the wheels around the country, including the London Eye. From there, I would suggest placing the triangle Flower of Life crop circle over the 14 triangles up and above around the outside of the Olympic Stadium. I would also suggest placing the latest crop circle from a couple of days ago over the centre of the Olympic Stadium. So when you read stories about the Olympics or terrorist threats, and you can use these crop circles to rebalance that and transmute the energy as it goes into the Olympic stadiums, and we can just see a positive outcome for 2012. For those of you that do not know the Great Invocation, this exercise can be done with any type of prayer. The Lord's Prayer, a prayer that you've just made up. But I will say this system, using the crop circles, is designed for peace and harmony. This cannot be used to harm people because it will only come back on yourself. So this vortex is created by reciting the Great Invocation. The exercise should be done with a statement of no harm, peace to all, a positive statement. Intent of exercise to be done should be stated before the exercise starts. So if you're using this or your prayer for the Olympics, what would you like the outcome to be? Peace and harmony, freedom. There's many reasons, and I'm sure we all have our different ones. But the main thing should be that everything comes together in harmony, and we need to raise the levels of humanity, of humanity's consciousness. It's very important. It's one of the most important things for 2012, but it's rarely talked about. So to bring energy to the earth in a downward direction, we first create a counterclockwise vortex in the center and say, from the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men, let light descend on earth. Create a second counterclockwise vortex 3 feet out and say, from the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men, may Christ return to earth. While these two vortices are spinning, visualize the energy coming up into the cup of a Holy Grail, and reverse the flow of energy and return it in an upward direction. Spin a clockwise energy field 6 feet out and say, from the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wheels of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. This sends energy to the cities of light in the 4th dimension. You then spin the clockwise energy field 12 feet out and say, from the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. This sends the energy now past the sun to the center of the Pleiades, which is the galaxy where Earth resides. It is always best to do this particular invocation with at least 3 people. 3 people create a note of harmony, and it is important that these rules be followed. Also, when creating a vortex, it is best to learn to dowse with a pendulum in particular, and actually get yes or no answers, to actually ask the consciousness of Mother Earth whether this is the right thing to do at this point in time. So I would say for the Olympic Stadium, for people with experience and dowsers or anyone that's a quick learner, yes, this can be used. If you're not sure, just say a prayer and use the symbols, but still state your statement of intent. So I've briefly showed you part of the ley grid system and how it's being used for the Olympics. I've shown you part of a system that you can use yourselves to change the energy, and basically all you're doing is transmuting any energies of fear into love, plus adding your own energies and your own intent to this. And this will make a huge difference. I cannot stress to you all how important this is for everyone. So thank you and happy Olympics. Obviously there's so much more I could have covered in this film. I've tried to keep it as short as possible. If anyone does have any questions or anything, I'm quite happy to discuss anything in this video in the comments below. If I get enough questions, I could even make a video just to answer them. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, please go and watch the Vortex films. I will put all the links in the description box below. One more thing I'd like to point out is that this is not about a New Age movement. This is not specifically aimed at anyone who calls themselves a light worker. This is for everyone. Everyone and anyone is included in what I am telling you today. Okay, here is an example of a prayer stroke invocation. And it says here, invocation for the Olympic Games, July 2012. If it be in accordance with the present programme from the Treasury of Light and Divine Mother and Father God, and in keeping with the angelic realms, including Archangels Metatron, Michael, Melchizedek, Sanat Kumara, Sananda Kumara, and Saint Germain, please encourage and enhance the positive energies associated with the July 2012 Olympic Games, Allow the energies of universal brotherhood, fair play, love, joy, fun, peace and goodwill among people from all the different countries of the earth to be celebrated. We create at this time the Holy Grail Vortex through our higher hearts with love, justice and wisdom. Repeat the great invocation and make the Holy Grail Vortex while mentally and emotionally connecting to the new Saqqara grid. Now, many of you will not be aware of this, and if you are not familiar with the Holy Grail Vortex, you do not have to do it. Just say a prayer or anything, a sentence, something that feels right to you. But visualize the flower of life crop circle over the wheels, the triangle crop circle over the triangles of the Olympic Stadium, and the six-pointed star diamond crop circle in the center of the Olympic Stadium. Make your statement, the rest will be done. Okay. To bring forth the violet flame of transmutation to neutralize all energies that are used to interfere, pollute and negate all the wonderful positive emotions, actions and outcomes associated with these Olympic Games in 2012. Transmute and recycle all non-beneficial, negative, interfering energies at this event and allow the already stated positive energies to infuse and ripple out in all directions, in all dimensions and in all timelines throughout creation for the upliftment of everything and everyone. Send the powerful energies of the violet flame out into all dimensions and timelines throughout the earth to transmute any and all negative energies that have been collected with malice and forethought from any source, including the Ferris wheels and England and the grid system. All the negative forces are to be projected and directed so that they are transmuted into love. Allow all to be transmuted and cleared by the violet flame and recycled by the nature spirits or interdimensional beings for the highest and best for all as Gaia directs. So mote it be, and it is. This will affect the conscious levels of humanity in a good way, and it's what needs to happen for 2012. Some of you may think I've talked about some strange things in this video. I mentioned interdimensional beings. I have evidence of all this on my YouTube channel, photos, film. It's all real, folks. As I keep mentioning, we're halfway through 2012 and half the world still seems to be asleep. So wake up, take responsibility and do something about it. Thank you.